So I've decided to do a thing on the channel where, to get more content out for you guys, besides my traditional draft stuff and my traditional basketball film essay stuff, doing some recap stuff as well, doing some recap of big games, doing recap of stuff like that. And I'm going to start with this one because this was something that, was a bit different than usual. They had the whole Marvel broadcast thing. I did not watch most of the Marvel broadcast. I have some more things to say at the end, but to give you an idea of what I think about it now before I give you my real thoughts toward the end of the video, I watched about a minute of it and then switched back to the regular broadcast. So that should tell you what you need to know about it already. But again, I will talk about that stuff later. But to talk about this game, it was interesting because while the final score looked lopsided, there were plenty of times it looked like the Pelicans were going to make a run and come back in this game. There were also times where it looked like the game was going to get out of hand, and in the end, the game did get out of hand. Steph did what Steph does, 41 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, 14 for 26 from the field, 8 for 18 from the line. He did what he needed to do, which is be the best point guard in the league, which he is. He was making guys look foolish. He was hitting the tough shots that he always does and make them look routine. Draymond put up a great stat line as well, and he had a great impact on the game. No one really could stop Zion, but Draymond did his best, and he had a few moments where he would get Zion, and he would force him out of bounds, or he would block his shot, or make it tough on the contest. So he did his best at trying to contain him as much as he could, but you can't stop Zion. I'll talk about him soon. Wiggins had a really good game as well. 26 points, 10 for 19 shooting from the field, 2 for 6 from 3, 4 for 4 from the line. And Draymond, like I forgot to mention it, but Draymond did have a pretty good stat line as well. Actually, pretty great. 10 points, 13 rebounds, 15 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 4 for 5 shooting from the field. Pretty much the essential kind of peak Draymond stat line you can think of. Besides that time he had I think it was anywhere between 27 or 30 points, and he had a triple-double in the NBA Finals or something like that in Game 7, in 2016. To get to the Pelican side of things, Zion was, again, incredible. Luckily for ESPN, when they had this whole Marvel thing set up, the two showcase guys, Steph Curry and Zion Williamson, the big names that they were promoting for this game, they sold out. Zion 32 points, 12 for 24 from the field, 8 rebounds, 8 for 11 from the line, the Zion type numbers, the usual. It's business was business with him. Ingram was solid, 19 points, 4 assists, 5 for 11 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, 8 for 8 from the line. Would like to see him take more shots. Lonzo, he had some passing things that he always does that, he can have an impact there. He was atrocious shooting the basketball, though. There were times he was indecisive. There were just times, it's the Lonzo experience. He came off his career high game, on Saturday, and last night, he had, a horrible shooting night. I don't know if it's his worst, because he's had plenty of other bad shooting nights as well. But, it was the essential bad Lonzo Ball stat line. The 7.7 rebound, 8 assists, 3 for 18 shooting from the field, 1 for 9 shooting from 3 game from him. Eric Bledsoe is terrible. The stats don't show it, but he made some awful decisions with the basketball in his hands. And, whether it be bad shots, only had 1 recorded turnover. I think it felt like he had more. I wish they would play Kyle Lewis Jr. more. That was one thing that bothered me. Kyle Lewis Jr., I believe, is isn't one. He has a chance to be, one of the better young guards in the league if you give him time to develop. and he's just not getting consistent minutes. I really wish they would be more consistent with his minutes. He has a chance to be so good. Jackson Hayes, I don't really know what he does. Again, he had a solid game statistically, like 9 points, 4 shooting from the field, and 4 rebounds in 14 minutes. But when I was watching him play, he just kind of looks lost. It kind of reminds you of like what Shaquille O'Neal was trying to paint JaVale McGee as back in the day. It kind of reminds you of that. We kind of just don't know what he's doing under, which was really just like a false, image that was painted about JaVale McGee by Shaq. But for Jackson Hayes, I feel like that's something that is real with him. They invested a high draft pick in him. I think sometimes they feel like they have to give him minutes just because like they invested this high draft pick in him, and he is still young. But again, like, it doesn't really look like he does much out there. It's very much like a Willie Cauley-Stein kind of vibe where, they're athletic, and I think the idea of them being this, non-offensive, defensive energy big, it's the idea of it, but there's not a lot of like actual execution with it. So that was that. The Pelicans in general, they would get down, it looked like they would come back, and then like they would get down again. Like they went on like a 10-0 run, and then they got up a play, and that just killed their morale. Like that's the best way I can describe it. And that's been a problem with them all year. And I haven't watched a lot of their games. I catch them on national TV. They're on national TV a lot, and I've caught some games on League Pass, and I've just noticed that like morale is key with them. Body language is key with them. Because they're a young team, look at it, like, really outside of Eric Bledsoe, that's a young starting five that they usually have. And all of their key players are young players. So, when you think about it in that sense, things like that matter. Like, body language matters. And there were plenty of times where the body language just did not look good, like after they gave up a defensive play. Like they seemed too relaxed. Just things like that. It's probably why they aren't going to make the playoffs this year. But yeah, I do want to talk about this Marvel thing now. I don't like it. I didn't. It gave me a headache after like a minute, and I switched the channel over. Partially because I switched it over because Vince Carter was on the game. Vince Carter was calling it. I love Vince Carter. I think he's actually very good at it. Him, Grant Hill, Doris Burke, like those are my favorites. And if any of them are calling a game, I'll watch it. I don't care who's playing. I'll watch that game. And he's really good at it. But with the Marvel thing, it's like, why are we doing this? Like, I understood when Nickelodeon did the whole NFL thing, but like with SpongeBob and all that stuff. But like for me, like with Marvel, it just didn't feel necessary, and it especially was not the game. This was not the game to promote something like that either. So I just didn't like it. That's the best way. I just did not like it at all. Like I feel like they're trying to get around, just putting out a good basketball product. And they have the pieces to make a good basketball product. Vince Carter's a pretty good commentator. Grant Hill and Ian Eagle are my favorite duo out right now. Like, Doris Burke, she's awesome. They're awesome guys that can call games. And they did. They had one tonight. They had Vince Carter calling a game. And I just feel like, instead of putting your resources into adding superhero graphics to your game, put that into like actually making a better product for national TV.